Why does your skin turn red and start burning after just 15 minutes in the sun? Why does your back ache for no obvious reason at all? Why is human childbirth one of the most dangerous events in the entire animal kingdom? Why does your own body attack pollen, dust, and peanuts like they're the enemy? Why are you the only creature on Earth that knows for certain that it's going to die? And why, out of every species that has ever existed here, are you the one running the whole planet? By the end of this video, you get to decide. Are we just an animal that evolved on this rock? Or does something about us not quite add up? Let's start with your skin. Step outside on a clear day. Give it 15 minutes. That's often all it takes for your skin to burn, redden, and inflame. Compare that to a crocodile that basks for hours, or a desert tortoise that spends its entire life under direct sun with zero protection. Even camels, built for the harshest deserts on the planet, don't fry the way we do. We had to invent an entire industry, bottled chemical shields we call sunscreen, just to survive our own star. It's strange that when you think about it. Your sun seems to be working against you. Now you're back. Roughly 4 out of 5 people deal with back pain at some point. When something shows up in the majority of a species, that's usually not bad luck. That's a design flaw. Gravity presses straight down through your spine, compressing discs that were never built to stack vertically. A kangaroo's spine curves to handle a body made for hopping. An ostrich's frame is shaped to carry a huge upright body without collapsing. Yours wasn't built like theirs, yours looks improvised. Then there's childbirth. Human childbirth is the most dangerous birth process of any mammal alive. Our heads are so large relative to the birth canal that getting through it is genuinely life-threatening. Before modern medicine, childbirth was one of the leading causes of death for women throughout most of human history. A newborn horse stands and walks within an hour of being born. A newborn human can't even hold up its own head for months and depends on caregivers for years longer than any other animal on Earth. No other species pays this price just to reproduce. Your immune system has one job: protect you. Instead, it frequently turns against things that are completely harmless: pollen, peanuts, dust, cat hair, and the list keeps growing. Around 30% of humans live with some kind of allergy. Your body sometimes treats the air you breathe and the food you eat as a threat. Either evolution made a strange mistake here, or something about your biology doesn't quite fit this environment. But the strangest glitch isn't physical, it's mental. You are the only species that knows with certainty that one day it will cease to exist. No other animal calculates its own mortality. Instead of ignoring that fact, we built entire civilizations trying to make peace with it. Temples, religions, philosophy, art, all of it in some way a response to knowing the clock is running. Out of every species that has ever lived on this planet, we're the only one that took control of it. Our closest rival for intelligence, the dolphin, has existed for tens of millions of years and still hasn't built a single tool. The gap between human intelligence and the next smartest species isn't a small one. It's a canyon. Every species on Earth exists inside a balance. Predators keep prey populations in check. Prey keeps plant life in check. Decomposers recycle nutrients back into the soil. It's a closed loop, and every species plays its role. Except us. We clear forests, we poison rivers, we pump the atmosphere full of heat-trapping gas. We've driven thousands of species to extinction without slowing down. We're not really part of Earth's ecosystem anymore. We're dismantling it. And if you think about it, that's exactly what an invasive species does when it lands somewhere it wasn't built for, with no understanding of the local rules, because those rules were never written for it. So if we don't quite fit here, where did we actually come from? In 1973, biologist Francis Crick, who had already won a Nobel Prize in 1962 for helping uncover how DNA carries genetic instructions, published a paper with his colleague Leslie Orgel that stunned the scientific world. They called it directed panspermia, the idea that life on Earth didn't originate here at all, but was deliberately seeded by an intelligent civilization from somewhere else in the galaxy. Crick's argument came down to timing. Life appeared on Earth around 3.8 billion years ago. Earth itself is only about 4.5 billion years old. That means life showed up within roughly 700 million years of the planet forming. In geological terms, that's almost overnight, and at the time Earth was still being pounded by asteroids and cooling from a molten, toxic hellscape. Life shouldn't have had the chance. Somehow it took it anyway. You might assume asteroids are just rocks moving fast through space. In 1969, a meteorite crashed near the town of Murchison in southeastern Australia. When scientists cracked it open, they found more than 70 different amino acids inside, the same building blocks used by every living thing on Earth. And we know life can survive interplanetary travel. Tardigrades, microscopic, near indestructible creatures, have been exposed to the vacuum of space, cosmic radiation, and temperatures near absolute zero and lived through it. In 2019, a spacecraft carrying tardigrades crashed on the moon, and to this day, no one is entirely sure whether any of them survived the impact. Life, it turns out, doesn't need to stay on one planet. In 2013, ecologist Dr. Ellis Silver compiled this physiological evidence in a book called Humans Are Not From Earth. The sunburn, the back pain, the allergies, the dangerous childbirth, even our slightly off circadian rhythm. He argued these weren't just evolutionary quirks. He argued they were clues. Here's where it gets complicated. Mainstream biology has a solid answer for almost all of it. It's called evolutionary mismatch, and it might be a more interesting explanation than the alien one. Back pain. We only started walking upright around 6 million years ago. That sounds ancient, but evolution moves at a painfully slow pace. Our spines are still running on an old prototype that never got its final update. Sunburn. We lost our body hair for a reason, most likely thermoregulation. When our ancestors moved from forests onto open savannas, they needed to cool down while chasing prey for hours under the African sun. Sweat evaporates far more efficiently off bare skin than through fur. We traded a protective coat for the ability to outrun almost anything else on the planet. Intelligence. One leading theory is the cooking hypothesis. Once our ancestors started cooking food, they unlocked far more calories from the same meal, fuel that a growing brain desperately needed. Combine that with living in complex social groups where tracking relationships and cooperating rewarded sharper thinking generation after generation, and you get a feedback loop. Bigger brains, better tools, stronger groups, repeat. Childbirth. Our brains grew larger faster than our pelvises could keep up, what scientists call the obstetric dilemma. Evolution was trying to make us smarter and keep us walking upright at the same time, and our anatomy got caught in the crossfire. It's dangerous, but it makes sense. Even our destruction of the environment has an explanation. We evolved in small groups on the savanna where resources felt endless compared to how few of us there were. Our brains are wired for short-term survival, not for managing an entire planet's ecosystem. We're not alien invaders. We're just an animal that became far more powerful than its instincts were ever built to handle. So that settles it. Almost. Because there's one thing evolutionary biology still can't fully explain. The speed. In 4 billion years of life on Earth, no species has ever done what we did. Dolphins have existed for roughly 50 million years. Intelligent, socially complex, communicative, and they've never built a single tool. Chimpanzees started using sticks around 4 million years ago and haven't meaningfully upgraded since. And then there's us. We went from sharpened rocks to nuclear weapons in about 2 million years. From fire to the International Space Station. From cave paintings to artificial intelligence. 200 years ago, there were no railroads. 125 years ago, no airplanes. 75 years ago, humans hadn't left the planet. 35 years ago, there was no internet. Nothing in the history of life on Earth has ever accelerated like this. Nothing has even come close. Crick couldn't fully explain it. Ellis Silver couldn't fully explain it. Modern evolutionary biology can explain most of the pieces, but not the whole picture. Not yet. The most honest answer science has right now is simple. We don't fully know. We're probably not aliens. Evolutionary mismatch accounts for almost everything strange about us: the sunburn, the bad backs, the dangerous births, even the mess we're making of this planet. All of it fits an animal that evolved too recently and too fast for its own biology to catch up. But knowing why we're flawed doesn't fully explain how we got this far, this fast. So here's the question worth sitting with. If every piece of the puzzle checks out, why does the picture as a whole still feel unfinished?